My daughter was murdered, Mr. Brodie. A man walked in off the street and slaughtered her in broad daylight.
I'm truly sorry about what
You're
happened.
not a police officer any longer. You're free to help me, I beg you.
Mr. Wire, I can't take the case.
I'm a private investigator.
What I'm about to tell you, I've never told another living soul.
Go on.
What are you not telling me? Why are you so desperate to find her after all this time?
Look, I gave you the money, you find Tanya, the rest has got nothing to do with you.
I know you think you're protecting Laura, but you might just be protecting her killer. Mr. Hunter, do you or do you not know where your wife is?
No.
We went to a graveyard and then I played croquet with the vicar and then Dad beat up this man. Awesome.
Somehow, something has been missed. I want you to find it. Please.
Show me a room. There's many things that are different about all the books and the different characters they come across. Case Histories is mostly about things that happened to people in the past. But there are themes that emerge of damaged women, girls in danger, people lost, lives hidden and stuff. Are these themes that you return to because they're things that are important to you or happen to you, the autobiographical elements?
I stop and think when people mention the word themes to me, because I never consciously set out to write anything with theme. I just write. And
maybe your subconscious must be.
Oh no, I
look
look back at things and I think, oh, that's very interesting that I seem to write about the same thing all the time. In fact, no, I think, well, there is no interest in happiness. You can't write a book about happiness. You can try, but it ends up
The
being,
movie maxim is no one wants to buy a ticket to see the village of the happy people.
Yeah, exactly. So you write about damage, basically,
Right.
and I think it's a fascinating thing to explore. I mean, I'm one of those people who read all the darkest things and all the grimmest things about how every aeroplane fell from the sky and every child was drowned, because I think it's just. But also, from one point of view, I think you have to honour that kind of material. I think I really don't like the kind of writing that, oh, here's another dead prostitute, here's a dead person, here's a body. I think you have to, if you're going to talk about death and if you're going to write about murder, I think you have to really do it seriously.
Do you? Because it seems to me you've got a macabre sense of humour. And what I like about, when I watch these pieces back, the directors all managed to create a tone and walk this fine tightrope of it's serious and terrible things are happening to people, and at the same time, there's an awful lot of light relief in
But
it.
it is a fine time. But it is relief. It's a Shakespearean thing, isn't it? The port of the door. You've got to, the actual grim thing has to be done grimly,
Right.
I think.
Now, I fancied a beard as well. That was subject of much debate, wasn't it?
There's much debate.
That's why I've grown it for this.
Much-
It's the only time I could get to be a beard.
Much debate. I, in the end, came down on pro stubble.
Did you?
Yes.
Well, that was kept from me.
But I think you're a little too beardy.
Right now.
Because
Good to know.
women, no man with a beard can acknowledge this, but most women don't like beards.
I'm interested in something slightly more uncomfortable for you. What slightly rocked you, and what were you not prepared for? Maybe it's the level of collaboration, how much you have to let go, or maybe it was characters not turning out how you imagined, having to
I
see
think I
them
had some
afresh.
problems with some of the casting.
Right.
That they just did not have the right faces.
That you had seen
figures.
for
Well,
years.
the thing is, I don't see. I mean, if you look at my books, I very, very rarely describe a character. In
Right.
fact, hardly ever. I might say they're big, but that's about as far as I go. And so but I know kind of the ambience of the character, if you can imagine that. And so with some of the casting, I was just, no, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right, that's not the person. And in a way, I've grown into it.
Well, for instance, we have the fantastic Phil Davis playing Theo White.
Oh,
and,
it's nothing
and
like
Theo
Theo in the book.
is a big,
Yeah.
big fat man who
Yeah.
can't get upstairs. But when Phil said yes, I knew, because I worked with him before in Steptoe, I knew he's a brilliant actor, brings something to it. But I imagine those people, and for you, having lived with Theo for a long time, it must have been a bit of a shock to go, wait, this is not a big, tall, fat
No,
man
because
at all.
I mean, I had my list of fat actors who I
Right.
thought of, but then I think Phil Davis is such an amazing actor
This
that I
brings
was
such
really,
dignity to it,
really
yeah.
happy to have. I mean, more than happy. I was, very pleased that Theo shrank and became asthmatic and whatever. So that was, some things were surprisingly good,
Right.
some things were surprisingly unsatisfying about it.
So how do you begin to map out a story like this? Sometimes people say that they start with the ending and then go backwards. Is that the same for you?
I start with the title, and I have the title for years usually, because I don't understand the neurology of writing, but I know that if I have something in my head somewhere, then there is a part of my brain that I can't access that is thinking about it. So I know if I've lodged a title somewhere, then there is something that's kind of accreting around it, like an oyster's, a pearl in a shell. Not always a pearl, sometimes really not quite that valuable. But so I have the title, and the titles really can sometimes just be looking for a novel, because I like titles, and sometimes I have a title I like a lot that I wait years until I can find something that will suit it.
Oh, really?
And then occasionally I give in and think, I'm just going to give a title to this book that has nothing to do with it, but I like it. But it does have an effect. It definitely draws thinking towards it. And then I know where I want it to begin, as a rule, and I know... Do I know where It's not I know where I want it to end, although sometimes I do, but I know how I want it to feel at the end. I like writing about families because you have a ready-made group. You don't have to go out and search for, an audience to write about, or a group of people who work in an office. You have people who have much more complicated relationships in a family and much more interesting dynamics, so that it's almost like it's already there for you. You don't have to do the work when you're writing about families, because you're always going to have all those horizontal and vertical connections, and all of that emotion and drama and hatred and love and kind of feral behaviour that a family encourages within its walls. So I do. I'm an only child, so I come from a very small family, although my parents come from very big families. So I was always very aware that somehow I'd been reduced somehow to this point, and I was always a voyeur in other people's families, and I actually hated being in other people's, visiting other people, because they seemed to behave so badly, and they seemed to be able to be really vicious with each other, and then it was all right. And to me, being vicious with someone was a point of no return, and so I was never very comfortable with that idea of how families behaved with each other. But I think, still endlessly fascinates.
And then suddenly we have the character of the detective, and I'm wondering why at that point you decided to do that. Why did you introduce a detective into the novel that you were writing at that time?
Well, because I was writing a novel that didn't have a detective in it, you're right. But it started with the two characters, with Amelia and Julia and with Theo, and they had these backstories that were very long and involved unsolved crimes. And then I thought, well, they both have unsolved crimes in their background. We need to solve those crimes, and therefore we need a detective. And at the moment I thought, I'll put a detective in the book, I knew it would start to be called crime writing. So I was very wary, because I like crime writing, but I didn't think that I could write a crime novel, because a crime novel to me is goes from A to B. It has a very dynamic, pointed narrative, and I didn't think I could do that. But then I thought, well, I'll just do it my way, really. So yes. So no, it didn't start off as a crime novel. Yes, Jason Isaacs is the face of Jackson, and he's very handsome. And I did cast him myself, but it's almost impossible to find a British actor who has not played a detective on TV. There's virtually nobody. I think he was the only one left.
Kate, given you've written across different genres and you've been very successful, I wondered if you could tell us what you think makes your books successful pieces of literature or art, whatever you'd like to call them. Like, what makes them good books?
I have no idea. If I knew that, I would be bottling it and selling it. I don't know. I write... No, I don't know. I always think that... I think, and it's true of a lot of writers, that I put the best part of me into books, and I think... But that isn't what makes a good book. But I think I'm quite an honest writer. I never think about if I'm revealing anything about myself. So I probably do all the time, and I do think people respond to that in books in a way. But honestly, I wish I knew the answer to that. I mean, it's not up to me to say I write good books anyway. So
I think of him as a really useful thread and also a structure. It's sort of two opposite things, but he's a way of manipulating a plot, I think, so that because I don't need to think about him, I can concentrate on the other elements in the books he's in, I think. So, because if you want to bring a large cast of characters together, you have to have a means. They can't, they could all be working in a bank, or they could all meet each other randomly, or whatever, but he is the very useful tool to bring them all together and make sense of them, I think. So I'm never really that focused on him, because I know he's just going to do his thing.
His thing. Well, his thing, he's got this, he's got that savior thing. I think of him sometimes, please don't be offended, as a Labrador.
I think of him more as a German Shepherd.
Ah, okay. I thought the dog part would bother you. I wasn't so worried about because he sees trouble and he's like, he doesn't think, he just goes, must save, must help.
Yeah, he says it's very instinctive in him. No, I always think of him as a dog. Absolutely. He's got all the good qualities of the dog. I think he's loyal, and his instinct is to pull you out of the river or the burning building, which I think a German Shepherd is more likely to do than a Labrador. If you know your dogs.
Okay. I'll go with that. I'm so happy you're not offended by the dog analogy. They sort of want you to be all, you've said this before, they want you to be all warm and fuzzy about your characters, and I don't think you really are.
No, because you are using them for your own ends, so... I do have a lot of affection for certain characters, but even then, they're not, if you start to get too close to your characters, there's a certain madness lies there, I think, because you are a writer and you're making this world and you're forming this world and you are absolutely in control. The great thing about being a writer is that you can be in complete and absolute control. It is a job for people who like control, I think. So you get to be God, because you create and destroy, and there's not many areas where you can do that.
Hi, Kate. There are dogs featuring quite prominently, especially in the Jackson Brodie novels, and I just wondered what dogs give you, what dogs give you and allow the characters to be able to express.
I really, really love dogs. And I don't have a dog, so they all go into my books.
You were going to get one.
I still am, but not imminently. I think if you have a dog, you know what an important part of your life it is. But I think a lot in fiction, they're disregarded, and I think it's nice to give a dog a part in a book just because, they are, if you have a dog, it is a really big part of your life. So, unless you're a particularly bad dog owner. So I think it's, they need to me, give them a part, really.
You said that you're not drawing them from people. How are these characters coming to you?
Don't know. It's magic.
The secret.
I know, it's completely baffling.
It's a secret to you. Yeah.
I love character. So I think that's a really good starting point, is that I love characters. And whenever I start writing a character, they're just there, instantly there. And I do not understand how. I really don't understand how. I don't do a lot of description. I don't do a lot of, and she had short brown hair and she was, 5'2", and I don't do much of that at all. It's just trying to get just this kind of feel of them. I don't know.
Best writing advice you ever received?
On the radio, a radio interview with Anne Fine that I was listening to when I was still writing stories, and it was women's hour, and they were, oh, Miss Fine, you must write so much in a day, you must get that. And she just said, a good day is a good sentence, and that's it. And I thought, that has been my mantra ever since.